Hello, folks, and welcome to this week's Driving Your Own Vision, episode 5 of 1. Now, before I go on, this was supposed to be a live stream, but unfortunately, because we're having some issues with YouTube at the moment, there won't be a live stream, but we will sort that. Hopefully, using the laptop or something a bit more like that, then hopefully we'll be able to get live stream up and running. If it's just a signal issue, then hopefully we'll do a live stream later on. We'll try a live stream later on. But I just thought that I would talk to you about procrastination. Now, for those who don't know what procrastination is, it's about putting something off. Now, how many here have decided that they've done an assignment or something and they just can't, the heart isn't in it anymore? Your heart isn't in what you want to do. So you put it off, and then you put it off, and then you put it off. And you think, because the age of the smartphone basically helps us to procrastinate all the time, it's like a gateway to procrastination. Then what do? We put things off. Instead of using a tool like procrastination as a tool, we use it just to lay back and not think. When we could be doing something more creative, we don't. We, in fact, do something lesser creative. Which is why we, as procrastinators, we don't seem to learn from anything. And I want that to sink in for a moment. Because you, as the procrastinator, you, for example, might be getting up and you might think, do you know what? I'm going to make my bed.
One notification.
Or
Gmail. Now. Livers. Notification. WhatsApp. Now.
You might
Sophie Thong at Henshaw's memory.
You might put it off and you might think, do you know what? I could put this off. Because it's going to be easier for me if I do put this off. And because I don't have to put the work in if I put it off. It's like you could be making your bed and you could just say, do you know what? I won't make my bed. And people say, it never gets done, which it doesn't. And work never gets done when people procrastinate.
Free notifications. WhatsApp. Now. Matt Carter at Henshaw's Memories. Microphone. Voice message. Screen dim.
So I had to type something that was fresh in the mind. So we as procrastinators, we basically, excuse me, we may be making the bed, for example. And, they say nothing gets done. If it's not done, it just, it won't get done. If nothing gets done, it won't get done. But you may be thinking, well, do you know what? What if, let's just say you've got that unmade bed, untidy room, but you may think, do you know what? I'm going to go build a city.
4 notifications.
Right?
WhatsApp. Now. Mark Jones at Henschel's.
You may be thinking,
Microphone.
I'm going to build a city here. And you may just think, wow, do you know, I've got these plans, I've got this, I've got this idea in my head. I'm gonna build a city. I'm gonna help the poor. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna get rich quick. I'm gonna open this new shop or whatever. There's a guy on YouTube who I'm going to leave a link to. I'm actually subscribed to him. Look, Mum, No Computing. And he is literally, he comes up with these ideas, but they're so wacky. And he sits there and does these ideas. And builds these ideas. If you're that sort of person that thinks, do you know what? I can't be asked to make my bed today. But what if I built a robot that could make my bed for me? And then I could build the synthesizer in the same day. And obviously people just think, and obviously people have a try at stuff as well. I think procrastinators, we are fantastic, because even though we're lazy and we sit back and we put off things, we're not frightened to try something. We're not frightened to open a new venue. We're not frightened to seek our dreams. We're not frightened of things going wrong. We're not frightened but we're not. A lot of people think that a procrastinator will look upon somebody and go, they'll look down on somebody and go, oh, what a, they'll look at their nice car in their driveway and they'll go, oh, what a nice car you've got. And, oh, what a nice job. Oh, what a nice house. That's something else, which I'll come to in the next episode. But procrastinators, you could sit back. You could have your assignment in front of you. The one that you're writing, the one that you can't be bothered doing. You could take bits from the assignment and you could think, right, and why do I need this whole textbook of information? All right, why do I need it? I've got a whole textbook around me. I think procrastinators invent the best things. If you wanted to, say, for example, build the biggest guitar amp in the world, you could, and then obviously nobody would stop you. Procrastinators are the ones that think big, get rich quick, and end up poor, and stay poor. But that's not the case, because there are online ways, and people don't use that tool really well. I think Mark Zuckerberg is the richest procrastinator out there. Now, you have to look to Mark Zuckerberg because he posts just the normal, bog standard posts you see online. And I commented on one of his posts ages ago. And he said, well, we have to look to his reply was, we've just got to look to the future because nobody knows what it holds. And his posts were all of that, and he always looks at the past. He always looks at where he went wrong. He looks at what he wanted to do. He looks at the bad stuff. And, he understands that makes him rich. But what he knows is, oh, well, this is the biggest mess, And Facebook was created 10, 20 years ago. I remember when Facebook was, I don't remember when it was invented, but when I first saw Facebook, I was in my third year of college.
Six notifications. WhatsApp. Group. Now. Sophie Thong at Henschel's memory.
And I remember how big it was. Because everybody was talking about it. It's still big now, but it's not. When Facebook came out, it was a strange phenomena. But people weren't using it to its full advantages.
7 notifications. WhatsApp.
Instead, they were using it to the wrong advantages.
Microphone. Voice message. 5 more.
It wasn't until 5 years in its lifespan that Facebook became like a digital street. People started making businesses on there. And people started making money on there. But Facebook wasn't really big because you had MySpace. Does everybody remember MySpace? Probably won't. MySpace was, I wish it was still around because it was far more better than Facebook. But what we've got to realise is, you take Mark Zuckerberg as an example, as a procrastinator, somebody who sits back. And, I said you don't know how to get rich quick. Get rich quick. There's no such thing as getting rich quick. Well, there is. It's called procrastination. If you don't know how to get rich quick, you do something. You put it out online. Look at Napster. Napster was the doorway of file. It was the doorway of music streaming. And I saw an interview with the guy who invented Napster. The whole Napster thing with Metallica. And technically, I laugh at the whole thing because not because Metallica went in court and the music rights and everything. It's all a big thing. But these kids were just out there trying to share music for people to listen to. And see, music streaming, everybody gets rid of the whole CD collection. And you shouldn't get rid of your whole CD collection. Into reasons why I will disclose in something else. But we get back to procrastination, right? You don't even have to think about what you want to do. You don't even have to think about what you want to do. It's like you're on autopilot. But you do have to want to do what you want to do, if that makes sense. If you listen to the intro to, there's a Primal Scream song, and
WhatsApp. Root. Now. Sophie.
there's a guy going, we want to be free, we want to get loaded, we want to have a good time. But if you listen to that, it's like they're out there. You want to be free, you want to be loaded, you want to have a good time, you want to be free to do whatever you want to do. But if somebody gave you £1 million and say, here mate, you're loaded, there's £1 million,
9 notifications.
right?
WhatsApp.
In a bag,
No.
right? Go off, do whatever you want to do. If you go home with that £1 million in a bin bag, in a black bin bag, you take it home, you sat in your room, you sat with that £1 million, and now let's just imagine you're sitting writing this list on your computer of all the things you're going to do with that £1 million. You'd be sat with a blank page, and because you'd be sat with a blank page, because that £1 million is just there, it's sat in a bag. I remember somebody asked me, we went to a car place, and somebody said, if somebody gave you £100,000, what would you do with it? And your mind just goes blank, because other things you could do with £1 million. You know, if you had the chance to do whatever you wanted to do with £1 million, you would not know what to do with it. You would not know what to do with it. And I'll tell you why. Because you have to think about it. You have to think about it. Even if they just gave you £1 million on the spot, if somebody just turned up and gave you £1 million on the spot and said, right, go off and spend that now. Spend it now. You know, you probably go off and buy the most ludicrous thing ever. Well, I would anyway. You would probably end up taking some of it home, but if I had £1 million, first thing I'd go off and do is buy a few more fidget spinners. I got a fidget spinner yesterday, actually. I'd get some spiky balls. I'd get a toy laptop. I would get, I would buy loads of toys. I know exactly what I'd do without even thinking about it, right? That's procrastination. You do something without even thinking about it. You know, it's like going to the toilet. You know? You go to the toilet, you do your business, you come out. When you sit on the couch and you're chilling out and you're watching television. But let's imagine you are sitting on your couch, you're watching your television, and yet you have created a website which will change the world. And you don't know that yet. And that's what Mark Zuckerberg was doing. He was chilling out in his dorm room. Basically procrastinating. Basically thinking, if my friends could have all of this. Steve Jobs, when he never procrastinated. Never. But I bet you if he did, Apple would still be rolling in it. There's some people who know they're procrastinators. That's when they terminate projects. Do you ever remember a game called Flappy Bird? And it was the biggest. It was a small project. It was a teenager in his bedroom, messing about, goofing off. Right? He made an app called Flappy Bird. It got thousands of views. He then took it down. And Flappy Bird now, that guy's rich. That guy's a rich kid. Because he's probably getting a cut off some of these eBay sellers, I don't know. There's probably a community that are making Flappy Bird and he's saying, yeah, do you know what? And they're giving him a cut somewhere along the line. He knows already, he said terminate project because he's made the money he needs to make. And if you can do that, if you can think, right, I need to terminate the project now because I've got the money to make something greater. We can use procrastination as a doorway. Right? We don't even have to, in this day and age, we don't have to do paper rounds anymore. We don't even have to sell fruit from door to door anymore. No, we just have to do something simple. You know, you've got a phone, you've got an iPad, you've got a laptop. You could do something just by lying on your couch. You could be lying on your couch and you'd be thinking, what can I do? Do you know what? I'm gonna make a website out of Lego. And you do that. And I tell you what, if you do that, you're the best person in the world. I mean, to be frankly honest, the look mum no computing. I know he procrastinates or says he does. I think he doesn't because a lot of time goes into what he does, you know. He probably, when he's lying on his couch, he probably thinks, all right, I've got all of this stuff, what can I do with it? And then the next day he just goes and builds it. And I think that you can do that. But by procrastinating, by putting something off, if you've got a load of stuff you can do, like making the bed, for example, your bed might be unmade, but you might be thinking, do you know what? It's a cold day, you know? And I don't want to put my radiator on yet. Well, my bed's unmade. I'll take this blanket off and I'll wrap the blanket around me. And these pillows here, I'll just put them behind me so I've got a nice comfy cushion, you know? And see this coat lying on the floor, I'll put that around me too. And, you know, and before you know it, you're actually nice and toasty warm. You might have gone and got a nice hot water bottle. Your radiator isn't on and you are toasty warm. Your house is probably freezing, but you're sat in this nice little warm fort which you've made. You might be thinking, well, do you know what? I could make a radiator out of 1,000 water bottles. You know? You might be thinking something ludicrous, but if you can make yourself toasty warm and you haven't put the heating on, and you've saved on heating bills for a month, then do you know what? My hand goes up to you. My heart goes out to you. This is talking about procrastination. I really hope this has helped, and I might do something later on where I'm live and doing all the good stuff that's live-ish. I don't really have a webcam, so I'm going to have to figure out something as per freaking usual.
12 notifications. WhatsApp. Touch ID or in page. App switcher. Voice memo. Stop. Button.